Wait, are you asleep?
Oh, hey. Sorry about that. I'm just resting before the playoffs. Oh my God, we did it!
My dick is big, my dick is wide, my dick is huge.
That's right. Super Bowl, here we come.
So you're saying there's a chance?
We're ready to tear this baby up. Why? Good afternoon, football fans, and welcome to this second to last week edition of the Trajan Sportcast. I am your host, professional wrestler and Kansas City Chiefs fanatic. Hold on. 8 straight time AFC West champion. Kansas City Chiefs fanatic Christian Temple, joined alongside, as always, by my good friend, the hope playoff hope restored, double terrible towel twirling Trajan. It was Mason all along. He was the answer to our problems, besides Joe Flacco.
He's not the savior you want, but it's the savior you deserve.
Savior you deserve. What a week. What a week of football. I mean, good God. We had controversial calls. We had action figures falling off the wall. We backup quarterbacks galore. We had division champs. We've had eliminations. You name it, we've got it this week, and we've got it all in store for you. But let's go ahead and start with the Kansas City Chiefs victory, clinching the AFC West for an 8th consecutive time, which now gets them first in the division with 16 division titles, whereas everyone else is now at 15. Who else is at 15? Trajan has just disappeared, but I'll still go anyway. How about those Chiefs?
Gosh. You know
Burrowhead,
what?
nah. Browninghead,
You
nah.
deserve it. You deserve it. I will say 8 times. That's pretty good.
Yeah, you know who else deserves some props? This guy right here. This guy right here, Isaiah Pacheco, baby. I love the Christmas present for my mom. It came at a perfect time because, boy, he had himself a game this week. We're talking 130 rushing yards, 1 receiving touchdown, 165 yards total. This was a great showing by him. Mahomes, he was okay, 21 of 29, 245 yards. He did have a touchdown. He didn't throw interceptions. Imagine that. We find ways to win when Mahomes doesn't throw interceptions. Crazy how that works out. Rashi
Run
Rice.
ball.
Exactly. We have a running back that we can run the ball with, and boy, we were laughing about it earlier too. Isaiah Pacheco runs on the field like the field owes him money. I mean,
Nope.
he stomps his feet into the turf when he runs. It's hilarious to watch. Where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. Rashi Rice making his case once again of trying to become wide receiver number 1. 5 receptions for 127 yards, one of which he was this close to breaking off for a touchdown, which would have been only our second one of the day, funny enough. But as good as that was, I mean, heck, Nick Bolton had 13 total tackles. George Karloftis, a sack and a half. That puts him up to 10 sacks for the year. What a great second year for Furious George. Charles Omenihu with the sack. Tershawn Wharton with the sack. Chris Jones even got himself a sack on there too. What was great about George Karloftis, though, is that they were against Orlando Brown. We tried to warn you, Cincy. We tried to warn you.
I just love it. You gotta love it.
Exactly. But the guy that I've got to take my hat off to in this game, none other than the AFC Special Teams Player of the Week, Harrison Butker. A perfect day for him. 6 out of 6 field goals, 1 for 1 on extra points. His longest, even the 54-yard field goal, which it's weird because I used to think, all right, 50 yards with Butker, we're good to go. If it's 30 yards, I'm starting to get a little nervous. Besides his last 2 misses this year, he has been near automatic. So hats off to him, getting the Chiefs up to an 8-point advantage, in which case the defense took care of the rest. Jake Browning had himself a decent game. Ended up only 197 yards. He did have a touchdown. He had one passing touchdown and one rushing touchdown. But yeah, it was not enough. It was not enough. They couldn't get anything going in the second half. The defense shut them out. It's funny. My wife was at her mom's house for the first half of the game, and they had it on in the background too. And when she saw the score was 17-7 Cincy, she's like, well, Cincy just made a huge mistake. They're up by 10. We all know what happens here. And sure enough, it happened again. The Chiefs make the comeback, and they hold on and clinch the AFC West. So, and I'll let you chime in. I just got to make one more point here too. It's good that they are locked in to the third seed, because obviously the Baltimore Ravens, they've earned the 1 seed. Hats off to them. They earned the bye week, but this is a pseudo bye week for Kansas City here, because no matter what happens, they're not going to move up, they're not going to move down, they're locked into the number 3, and it's already been announced Blaine Gabbert will start at quarterback this week, and some other starters will be named as probably being benched, which Kelsey's 16 yards away. He's 16 yards away from another 1,000-yard season, but obviously the playoffs mean more than just another 1,000-yard season. His name is already etched in history in the record book. So now you've got to get ready, get into playoff mode here too. So, but yep, 25-17, Chiefs win. Alrighty, now it's on to the playoffs after the Chargers this week.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't have won if you didn't triple team Jamar Chase the whole time.
Oh, how about, shall we open up that can of worms? What if you want to? I'll give credit to Cincy about one thing. They are masters at something. They are masters at the bulletin board material. Because God, and which actually is I may go off on a rant here too. I'll try not to, but. It's no secret. Jamar Chase in an interview goes off and says there's no one on the defense that scares him or anything like that, which could be taken as he accepts all challengers, right? But there's this just one little problem here too. There's this guy called L'Jarius Sneed who has been lock stock down this whole year. And it happened again here, outside of the little pass interference call, but we're not going to talk about that. Only held Jamar Chase to 3 receptions. I think it was only 41 yards, but no touchdowns, no big plays. And I just cannot believe that Sneed got snubbed from the Pro Bowl. It boggles my mind, the year that he's had. I mean, this is a contract year for him, and he's playing like it.
Well, to be fair, did you vote for him?
Oh, of course I did. Of course I did. I had to.
I usually vote. I completely forgot about voting.
Oh, wow. And you know what? I'm the opposite. This is my first year voting, actually. This was my first year voting. So I will say, of course, I voted for Mahomes. I really don't think Mahomes deserved to be in the Pro Bowl this year, if I'm being totally honest with myself. This has been, his stats show that he's still up there, but it just doesn't feel like the same Mahomes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like the same Mahomes. It's like that is like the breakout MVP and all that too. So now I'll know if the league is rigged if he wins MVP this year. That's not going to happen. There's no way that's going to happen. I'll eat my hat. I'll eat this hat right here if he wins MVP this year.
Oh, it is refreshing for once not to see Patrick Mahomes as one of your lead rushers.
You speaking for yourself or for everyone else? And I would speak for that too. It's nice seeing Pacheco finally get that next year going, and I hope he does so for us for years to come. But enough about me. Let's talk about you. You're pretty happy with what happened this week, huh?
Averaging over 30 points. 402 back-to-back 400-yard games. No problem. Oh man,
bless you, and that's the
game.
That's the perfect segue. Let me flip over to the screen here too. Steelers win 30-23 over the Seattle Seahawks. All right, now the floor is yours.
Well, I will just go ahead and say that no one can tackle Harris. Man's a beast. He destroyed them, going for 122 yards, 27 carries, 2 tuds, and he split those carries and yards with Jalen Warren for 13 carries, 75 yards, and 1 tud.
Wait, hold on. It's in here somewhere. There were some disparaging words about Harris. Do I have to go back? Was it week 7 or week 8? I'm trying to. Let me just get through here. No.
I was in despair. Matt Canada was our coordinator.
That's fair. You get a pass with
Yeah,
that.
it could be considered mourning. Um, but yeah, no, the offensive line has come to life these last few games. Najee Harris and Warren are feasting on it, which I think is a large part of why Mason Rudolph is doing good. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to take away from Mason Rudolph. He has been excellent at making great decisions. He looks comfortable in the pocket. He's going through his progressions. You can see him. He's not locked on to one guy that sometimes Kenny Pickett did. And our wide receiver core is feasting off of that as well. George Pickens, 7 receptions, 131 yards, no touchdowns, but still big plays that got us into the red zone, which our rushing game was able to pound it in. Deontay Johnson, he went 4 for 4, 76 yards, no touchdowns. No, there's no receiving touchdowns. Pat Fryermuth even got into the action with 44 yards, and Jalen Warren, he always gets a few catches in. He got 23 yards. So
Wait,
all-purpose yards.
he's still on the team?
Yeah, apparently.
they finally remembered that, huh?
He hadn't hit free agency yet. The biggest, if I had to say a disappointment, is how our defense showed up. I get they're beat up. I was hoping we'd be able to stop DK Metcalf a little bit more. He did get his yards. He got 106 off 8 targets, 5 receptions. Geno Smith, he had a good day. I mean, 23 for 33. Herbig came in clutch with the strip sack, his first of his NFL career. He's going to be a beast to come here soon. He's getting that experience. Every time he's on the field, he's making aggressive plays. And so I love it. But yeah, no, just all around. I was worried about this game because NFC, you're traveling to their field. These are the games we drop. I don't know why, we just drop them. But Mike Tomlin, he doesn't back down week 17 or week 18 here recently when we added that to the schedule. We scored in every quarter, 7-10, 7-6, for a total of 30-23. So overall, I'm excited.
Absolutely. Well, you talked about the offense. You talked about the defense. I've just got one question regarding special teams here. Do you guys miss Gunnar Olszewski after his kickoff return for the New York Giants?
No, because I will tell you this. I watched one game of the Giants. One game. He went back to punt. They said his name. I'm like, holy cow, he's on their team. He fumbled it. They recovered it, but he fumbled it. No. Hell no. I mean, I don't hate him as a person, but I definitely hated him when he was wearing black and yellow.
Oh man, I just had to bring that up too because I couldn't believe it. I was gonna say, wait, is that it? Oh my God, that's him! And sure enough, he returns a punt for a touchdown against the Rams of all teams too. You want to talk about a great upset, or I'm rather a near upset? Yeah, the Giants almost pulled off the near impossible. But unfortunately, the Rams they had something to play for, and they have the advantage over the Seahawks now.
Yeah, what I really think was impressive this week was the sheer dominance of the refs over the Lions over the years.
You know what?
Do we get into that?
We'll get into that because now we're gonna take a look at the playoff picture for both teams. We'll start with the NFC. So you know what? We'll go to the Lions just a second. But as of right now, the clear-cut top playoff seed currently sits with the San Francisco 49ers. You've got the Dallas Cowboys currently sitting at number 2, leading the NFC East, but the Eagles are not dead yet. They're going to need a lot of help, but the Eagles could still very well take the second spot. And now you've got the Detroit Lions sitting at 11-5, and that's going to be the interesting thing, because if the Eagles were to win their game, I believe the Lions would have the tiebreaker over them, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here, because the Eagles are 7-4 the conference. Oh wow, that's tough. How about division? Are they about the same? Oh no, I think the Eagles would have the tiebreaker over them actually. So Detroit, I think they might be locked into number 3 no matter what. Unless both teams lose. Man, what if both teams lose, the Cowboys and Eagles, which I highly doubt is going to happen, even though I have to say it is pretty hilarious that the Eagles lost to the defensive coordinator that they wanted drawn and quartered after how they blew out the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, and then they get destroyed at home by Gannon and the Arizona Cardinals. Be still my beating heart. It was just so much fun to see that. The best part of that clip was the lady in the crowd going, "What the hell is going on over here?" She sounded like Vince Lombardi.
Oh, geez.
And to wrap that up, Tampa Bay and New Orleans are still fighting for the NFC South, also known as Tank Division. Atlanta even still is. Atlanta's still alive somehow, some way.
Yeah, you got me. I guess if both teams lose, which Tampa is not losing versus the Panthers.
Exactly. The Rams have already clinched a playoff spot, so really there's only one wild card spot left up for grabs, which right now belongs to the Green Bay Packers, but the Seahawks, Saints, and Vikings will all be in the fight for that too, which right now it seems like Green Bay has the best chance to control their own destiny. Although we find ourselves in a very familiar situation as last year. The Packers had a chance, win and you're in, and they lose to the Detroit Lions. Could we see the exact same scenario happen with the Chicago Bears, who have been getting hot recently?
Justin Fields is playing great. They were actually chanting at that game, "We want Justin Fields." Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there's a lot of storylines, and that's going to be a great subject for the offseason. But
I think
Chicago Bears win.
They've got the number 1 pick signed, sealed, delivered there too. It would be hilarious to see the Chicago Bears win, which would bring the Seahawks into the playoff spot, I believe. I believe, yes, Green Bay lose, and that brings the Seahawks in. If they win. They have to win, though.
Yeah.
Would it be great if they all lost? What if the Vikings find their way in?
It is possible.
Anything's possible come playoff time, right?
Yep.
Exactly.
Josh Dobbs leads it to the...
the Pastronaut, baby. He's coming back.
Oh, my gosh.
Alrighty, so that's the NFC. We'll flip on over to the AFC, and as we mentioned earlier, the first round bye goes to the Baltimore Ravens. Very well deserved on their part. They seem like the most complete team in the AFC by far and away. Although the Browns aren't that far off too, it seems like, with Joe Flacco. Mm-hmm. The number 2 seed is very interesting because that is still up for grabs. That is still yet to be determined. The only thing that is working in the Dolphins' favor is that they have clinched a playoff spot. Win or lose against Buffalo, they are still in. Buffalo, it's not that simple. Buffalo, if they win, they clinch the 2 seed. They clinch the AFC East. But if they lose, though, then they're going to need some help. Yep. We'll get to help here in just a moment because there are going to be other teams that need some help. The Kansas City Chiefs have locked themselves into the 3rd spot, which, as I mentioned earlier, means they get a pseudo bye week. They're going to rest most of their starters. The AFC South is going to be very interesting. Right now, the Jags do control their own destiny. Just beat the Titans, and you're in. But I can say, under no uncertain terms, that Tennessee is more than looking for revenge from week 18 of last season. They had an opportunity to clinch the AFC South, and the Jaguars ripped it out of their clutches on the last week of the season. How big do you think this is for Mike Vrabel and his squad to potentially do the same, even though they're eliminated, even though they have no hope of going to the playoffs, to do the same thing to Doug Peterson and the Jacksonville Jaguars?
I am very hopeful that this happens, obviously for reasons, but Levis is out, Tannehill is out. Just don't see it happening.
Have they formally announced that Trevor Lawrence will play? I'm sure he will, but I haven't heard anything official yet.
Formally announced.
Okay, but you'd be hard pressed to keep him off the field.
Yeah, I know that's really the decision there. I mean, that's tough. I mean, I think you keep him there and warmed up and ready just in case. I say maybe you sit him that first quarter, and then if the game's starting to look a little too iffy there, you put him in that second half.
Keep his reps as minimal as possible, you know? Just what a tough situation to be in. You know your season's on the line, because if you lose, you're done.
Yeah, exactly.
You're pretty much done, because unless the Colts and the Texans ended a tie, which God forbid for other reasons, God forbid that happens. But if the Jags were to lose, then yes, the winner of Indy versus Houston would take that spot. And you know, hats off to Gardner Minshew for keeping that team in as long as they have. And you know, to a much lesser extent, Case Keenum, but I mean C.J. Stroud. I mean, you can't say enough about what he's done for the Texans this year. I mean, let's face it, they should have been the same boat as Carolina this year, logistically. But obviously the wrong pick was made in the very first pick of this year's draft. But C.J. Stroud, what a story that is, and he has an opportunity to cap off a phenomenal rookie season, especially if the Jags lose, by taking his team to the playoffs.
Yeah, no. They're going to be a good team to come, and the South could be loaded up. I mean, it looked like the Jags were going to run away, but I mean, Minshew's done a good job, but Richardson was playing very good before he got injured.
Just imagine giving him some weapons and some protection.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't play with Taylor.
Nope.
So I know the South could be a dangerous all the AFC. I mean, to think that the Steelers or some of these other teams might not get in with 10 wins is crazy.
It's been a dogfight.
Yeah, I mean, the Bills, they lose this, they're 10-7. Usually you get the wild card spot. But they're out. I mean, it's pretty crazy.
Yep. All right. Well, I'll leave this last wild card hopeful team up to you, because boy, are there some scenarios to run through here. So I will let you break it down. First of all, you play Saturday, so let's start with that.
We play Saturday against a hated division rival, the Baltimore Ravens, who are sitting players, which I don't really like that they're sitting players.
Why is that, bud?
I just got a bad feeling that it's going to be humiliating. I don't know. But hopefully I'm wrong. So we're going to play them. It's at Baltimore, which I'm not too worried about that. I mean, we play there all the time. It's not a crazy place to play at. I'd rather play there than the dog pound right now at this point.
Ooh, they're scary. They're scary right now.
They are, and their defense is scary. So the scenario goes like this. We have to win. There is a scenario if we lose, tons of crazy stuff has to go right. I'm not getting into that. We win.
How much time
Miami,
you got?
yeah, Miami beats the Bills. We're in. Simple as that. Jacksonville loses to the Titans. This is another scenario that could happen. We're in. This one's much less certain. Indy and Texans end in a tie. We're in. So don't think that's going to happen. I could. Crazier things have happened.
Remember how close a tie affected the Steelers here recently?
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that's the Saturday night game. So I would not be hurt if that happened. Um, but yeah, no, we can get in. Um, we have to take care of business on our side and just let the chips fall where they may be. Regardless, I think a 10-7 season, if we do end up winning, regardless of playoffs, is a respectful note considering how we started. We got a lot of answer questions on offense. We got some questions on defense too. I mean, we got some guys that are getting older. We got Minka's contract, I believe, coming up. So hopefully we can figure out some answers, get healthy again, because our linebacker core has been riddled with injuries. And so 10-7, I think, is a good spot, and hopefully we get there. Now, the thing that intrigues me, hypothetically, we get it. Okay, we would play the number 2 team, right? Which would most likely be it would have to be the Dolphins. Doesn't
There,
have to be the Dolphins.
there is a chance you could be the 6th seed too, but more likely than not, you would probably be the 7.
So 7th seed, we go up against the Dolphins. If we win that game and the Browns win their game, it would be the Steelers versus Baltimore and the Browns versus the Chiefs.
Oh,
How about that?
oh,
I think that would be the biggest nightmare scenario you guys could have because, yeah, your defense is playing good.
mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say they're great. I'm going to say they're good.
If I had
But
to
that
compare,
defense,
if I had to compare defenses, and I think we're going the same way here too, I'd probably have to give the edge to the Browns, and that's a scary thing to think.
and their offense has been decent.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Flacco's elite. So
Always
that
has
would
been.
just be, he always has been. That would be a great matchup. And, I think Cleveland Browns fans are having wet dreams right now
Man.
about all these scenarios. Because if you're them, I mean, yeah, you didn't win the division. There's some stupid things that happen in your season.
Mm-hmm.
But do any of these teams really scare you? I
Exactly.
mean, they've gone against the Baltimore Ravens.
Mhm.
Miami, they're Chiefs. They have their problems. They're still world champions. I'm not going to take away from that. They are the team to beat, but they're not scary. Jacksonville, if they made it in, definitely not scary.
Yeah.
I mean,
But Cleveland,
yeah.
Cleveland is licking their chops at whoever wins the AFC South right now.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
they're going to win.
the only team that I think will probably stand halfway decent chance would probably be Houston. But Houston would have to be like firing on all cylinders. They would. I'm not saying they have to play a perfect game, but they'd have to play a really strong game. Jacksonville, I don't think it's possible for them to do so if everyone's healthy. And Indy, they are consistently inconsistent. Is all I can say about that. The only team I think that would give them probably a little bit a tougher fight would probably be Houston. But like I said, all the Jags have to do is beat Tennessee, and then Cleveland is just going to be, hey, Jacksonville, remember Bottlegate? Because we haven't forgotten. That's what it's going to be like.
So who would you face? You would face.
There's 5 different options of who the Chiefs will face in the first round. Miami Dolphins, which is the most likely scenario. The next most likely would probably be the Buffalo Bills. Next would be Houston. Next would be Indy. And the least possible scenario, although it could very well happen, is in fact the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I think really you guys are going to be playing Indy.
That could happen. That could happen if they end up dropping the game to Houston, and if Jacksonville still loses, then yeah, they would still find a way in, and I think that would be our opponent.
Yeah. So what if? Gosh, so there's no way for the Bills to get in besides win.
Exactly. They're okay. So it's one of those like stupid amount of things would have to happen. But yes, their best bet to get in is to win. That's all that is. So someone did I might even put the picture up on the screen here momentarily, but someone did a Excel spreadsheet of like all the potential wins and all that too. So Buffalo, there's a few scenarios where Buffalo can still get in as the 7th seed. Actually, there's a couple scenarios where they get as a 6th seed too. Wow.
It's just crazy, all the different.
Yeah.
I mean, how you go in and figure out this.
Yeah, I'll try to put that picture on the screen so everyone can see what I'm talking about, the spreadsheet and everything too. I sent Trajan the picture of it too. But yeah, there's all sorts of crazy things.
Tennessee, Denver would have to win.
Yeah, Denver and Vegas has bearings on what's going on. 2 teams that are eliminated actually has a say in what can potentially happen in the playoff seeding. What universe are we in right now?
I do not know, but I like it because the Steelers are there.
Alrighty, well, it'll definitely be exciting to see how things shake out this coming weekend. It's the final weekend of the regular season, and we're about to find out who's in and who's going home. And but we will be back here next week, no matter what. We won't be going home, even though we're kind of recording in our own homes right now, technically, but still, we're still going to be here. We're still going to be here no matter what happens this coming weekend, too. Whether it's happiness or whether it's tears, you better believe we're going to be here, too. But, yeah, that is our show this week. Any final thoughts before we sign off today, Trajan?
Here we go, Steelers.
There you go. There you go, Steelers. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all of your friends. And we will see you all next week for the playoffs.